All right, shalom, shalom. First and foremost, I want to give our glory, our honor, and our praises to Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, Bahashim, Kahakodash. Double honors to the Apostle Elder Great Millstone, which teach well. Peace, love, and salutation to the hopeful elect scattered around the four winds of the earth. Pushing this word in our truth and our sincerity. Shalom at the brother Michael War from the Great Millstone, Columbus, Georgia camp. And coming back through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shemel Shai, Lord willing. I pray that this lesson be edifying. And the title of this lesson is going to be The Sabbath is based off the new moon, right? The Sabbath is based off the new moon, which we've seen this topic continually comes up ever so often, especially of late, about the Sabbath being based off the new moon, or so we have some other Israelites camps that proclaim that the Sabbath is based off the full moon, right? And etc., man. Right. And, the Holy Spirit just got on me to go into it. I know our apostle and elders done went into it. I know seen Apostle Ramlab and Apostle Gabar, me and Apostle Tahar went into it. Other brothers as well, which we here at Great Millstone, through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shemel Shai, we got it right, man. But without much more being said, I want to jump straight into it. I got a couple of precepts, Lord willing, it be straight into the point, right? This is Ecclesiasticus, which is Sirach 43:6. It said he made the moon also to serve in her season for a declaration of times and a sign of the world, right? So the moon serves as what? A declaration of times and a sign of the world, right? Carrying on, verse 7, right? Sirach 43:7. For the moon is the sign of feast, a light that decreaseth in her perfection, right? Could we understand the different moon phases, right? As it says right here, right? It says the moon wanes and it also waxes, right? They have different phases of the moon, right? But we understand that the moon is also the point in that is that it's a sign of feast, right? Which we know, the Lord has set up high holy days, right? Solemn assemblies, right? Feast days that we are to keep according to our heritage, man, right? According to the law, statutes, and commandments, right? Verse 8, Sirach 43:8. It says what? The month is called after her name, right? So the word month it comes from the word moon. You see? So the new moon dictates what? A new month, right? The new moon is the first day of a new month, right? And I'm gonna keep going. It said the moon is called after her name, increasing wonderfully in her changing, being an instrument of the armies above, shining in the firmaments of heaven, right? So we got that point. So we understand that the moon is for a sign of feast, right? And that the month is called after her name, right? So with that, just to prove it, I want to go to Genesis 7 and jump straight to the point, verse 11. It says, in the 600 year of Noah's life, right? Because back in the ancient world, our forefathers, they didn't go, the calendar which we go by today has been changed many of times, man. Right, if I'm not mistaken, at one point it was 10-day weeks. Under one of the empires, I don't know if it was on the Roman calendar or Babylonians, if I'm not mistaken. It probably was on the Romans. They had 10-day weeks. So the calendar has been changed many times, right? But we understand according to the scriptures that the scriptures went by numbers, right? The second month, the third month, the fourth month, right? As we can see, the second day of the second month, right? Not Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday, right? Not October, November, or December. You see, right? So Genesis 7:11 say in the 600 year of Noah's life, in the second month, the 17th day of the month, the same day where all the foundations of the great deep broken up and the windows of heaven were open, right? So let's click on this word month in this chapter, right? If you see it, right, it say in the month, right?
Strong's H2320. Chodesh.
Right, Chodesh. It says what? The new moon, right? Monthly, the first day of the month, the lunar moon, right? So we understand that the new moon dictate the first day of the month, right? Which the new moon is a feast day, right? It's a solemn feast day, man, right? You don't do any work on a new moon, right? Right? So that first day of the month, right? Because the scriptures say, which I'm going to go to next, right? Let me grab that in the law, Leviticus. It says what, right? 6 days shall you do work, and on the seventh day, right? Because we had those guys at IUIC trying to break it down, which they broke it down horribly wrong, using Genesis 1, when that was talking about, when they say the first day, they're talking to the first 1,000 years, right? Because we know that one day to the Lord is as 1,000 years, you see? Which at that point in time, a calendar and order wasn't even established, right? That was during the creation stage, right? Right? When the angels, right? The judges, the powers were the Elohim, the Elohim were creating the blueprint of the foundation of the earth, hey, by the word of the Most High, man. You see? Using the elements, right? But nevertheless, right, this is Leviticus 23. And I started verse 1, it said in the Lord, right? Listen, this a law of religious festivals, right? It said, in the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, speak unto the children of Israel, and say unto them concerning the feast of the Lord, which ye shall proclaim to be holy convocations, even these are my feasts, right? It says 6 days shall work be done, but on the seventh day is the Sabbath of rest, a holy convocation, and ye shall do no work therein. It is the Sabbath of the Lord, right? It says the Sabbath of the Lord in all your dwellings, right? So we understand on the new moon, right? You don't do anything, right? So the first day of the month, you wouldn't count as a work day, right? The first day of your work week will actually be the second day of the month. You see, right? So the first work day will be the second day. The third day will be the second day. The second day of work will be the third day of the month. The third day of work will be the fourth day of the month, right? The fourth day of work will be the fifth day of the month. The fifth day of work will be the sixth. The sixth day of work will be the seventh, right? And the seventh day, right, which you would be called the Sabbath, will be the eighth day, which is going to fall right directly on the same day that the new moon came in, right? Right? It's pretty simple, man. It's not hard to understand. You see, the new moon is going to dictate when the Sabbath is going to fall in, because that day is not a day that you're going to work on, right? So let's prove that real quick, right? Then I'm gonna jump to that example in First Samuel, right? This is Psalms 81 and verse 3. It says what? It say, blow up the trumpet in the new moon, in the time appointed on our solemn feast day, right? So let's get that, right? It say our solemn feast day, right?
Strong's H2282. Chag.
Right. Festival, feast, festival gathering, festival sacrifice. So that was a sacred day. That was a solemn feast day, man. So, hey, you're not doing anything, no work on a new moon, right? That was a solemn feast day, right? Verse 4, for what? This was a statute for Israel and a law of the God of Jacob. You see? So that's part of our heritage, man. And it's pretty simple, man. Right? It's not hard to understand. You see? The new moon is synonymous with the Sabbath all throughout the scriptures, right? So this is 1 Samuel 20, right? Which I'm gonna jump I'm gonna jump around this chapter just to get to the point because it's pretty lengthy, right? This going to the account when King David hid himself on a new moon from King Saul, right? I started verse 5 and said, David said unto Jonathan, behold, tomorrow is the new moon, and I should not fail to sit with the king at meat. But let me go that I may hide myself in the field until the third day at evening, right? So let me jump down. I started verse 24. It says, so David hid himself in the field, and when the new moon was come, the king sat down to eat meat, and the king sat upon his seat, as at other times, even upon a seat by the wall, and Jonathan arose, and Abner sat by Saul's side, and David's place was empty. Nevertheless, Saul spake nothing a thing that day, for he thought something had befallen him. He is not clean. Surely he is not clean. Why would he say that? Because that's a solemn day. He probably thinking, he probably was unclean, probably dealt with a woman. You see? Because you're supposed to be clean on those days. You can't have sex on the Sabbath, contrary to what some people out here tell you, man. Right? You're unclean, man. You see? It says something had befallen him. He is not clean. Surely he is not clean. Right? It said, and it came to pass in the morrow, which was the second day of the month, that David's place was empty, and Saul said unto Jonathan his son, wherefore came not thou the son of just to meat, neither yesterday nor today? Right? And that's pretty much the point, right? So why would he say that? Why would he say, oh, surely he didn't come because he wasn't clean, right? Because they was keeping the law, man, right? So let me go from that. Let me go to Isaiah 66. Right? Because he had to wait for himself to be purified, man. Right? This is Isaiah 66 and 23. Right? It says, I start verse 22. It says, as for the new heavens and the new earth, which I shall make and shall remain before me, saith the Lord, so shall your seed and your name remain. And it shall come to pass that from one new moon to another, and from one Sabbath to another. Why would it say that? Right? Right? Because the new moon is based off, the Sabbath is based off the new moon, man. Right? The Sabbath is based off the new moon. Right? Carry on. It says, and it shall come to pass that from one new moon to another, and from one Sabbath to another, shall all flesh come to worship before me, saith the Lord, right? Because that's a solemn feast day. You see? That's a solemn feast day, man. Right? And I'm going to end it off with this, man, just to prove the point, right? Because we treat the new moon, because the new moon is a Sabbath, man. Right? This is Amos 8 and 5. I started verse 4. It said, hear this, O ye that swallowed the needy, even to make the poor of the land to fail. Right? Verse 5, saying, this the point. Saying, when will the new moon be gone, that we may sell corn? Because right, on the Sabbath, don't you supposed to not buy or sell? Right? Why would they say that about the new moon? That's something that's synonymous with the Sabbath. You don't supposed to do no work therein. Because Jake back then, Jake was ready for the new moon and the Sabbath be gone so they could make some money, right? Not even trying to keep that day holy, right? But why would they say that? Why would they say, when will the new moon be gone that we may sell corn? And listen to this, and the Sabbath that we may set forth wheat, right? Because they wanting to work, buying and selling, trying to make a come up. You see? It says, and make the ephod small and the shekel great, and falsifies the balances by deceit, man. But that's the point, right? The new moon, right, dictates when the Sabbath is going to fall, because the Sabbath is based off the new moon. You see? You got the new moon, which dictates that month, right? Which you don't work on, right? Because it's a solemn feast day. Then you count 6 days after the new moon falls. You count 6 days after, right? Which those 6 days is going to be the actual 7th day of that month. And that following day, which is going to be that 7th work day, is going to fall on the 8th day of the month, which is going to be the exact same day that the new moon fell on, right? Not the full moon, right? Hey, but Lord willing, I pray that that lesson was edifying, and it was quick and to the point, because we want to do these lessons for the elect. But with that, I want to end this lesson. Lord willing, I pray to be edifying again. I want to give our glory, our honor, and our praise to Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, Bahashim Rakahakodash, the honors of the apostle, the great millstone, which teach well. Peace, love, and salutation to the hopeful elect scattered around the four winds of the earth, pushing this word in our truth and our sincerity. I want to say, Kwan Yasha Allah, Wabal Ball, until the next time, Shalom.